No seed times under 1 minute, but I think this is definitely going to be a sub-1 race as we see Joshua Daly leading the way. There's lining up, Settles making his move alongside Wecker. Now we see Reimers from the Albury Club just going to the outside, but out front it is still Daly leading the way. So Daly, Fitzpatrick, Riley in that order. $100 on the line in this race as we see Reimers now making a big move down the back straight. So the Albury runners come all the way down the track. This will really pay the petrol on the way home. And Reimers is the one making the big move, 200 out. So it's Reimers alongside Daly. Can anyone go with him? At the moment, no. So Reimers is leading it. You've then got Daly still in second position, Fitzpatrick, Riley in that order. A little bit of a gap to Uecken. He's coming home strong, but has Reimers done the job or has he gone too early? As Daly just recoups and goes to the outside. Reimers on the inside. Daly trying to go for the win again. $100 on the line. The young man from Albury getting the staggers. Daly's coming the outside. Reimers holding on.
Hey, it's Eric Reimers here, and welcome to my YouTube channel documenting my journey towards my running quest. And if you're unfamiliar with my running quest, then I recommend you check out this video right in the corner here, my origin story. Now, today I thought I'd do something a bit different from the usual content that I make, where today I thought I'll review one of my races, one of my first races that I've ever run outside of the school-based athletics carnivals. So, exciting stuff. So before I react to and play you guys the race footage of this race that I'm reviewing, I thought I'll give you a bit of a backstory onto the moments that led up to me entering into this race, and just a bit of context on exactly what I was going for in this race. And then next I'm going to react to that video live and break it down a little bit as we watch the footage. And then afterwards, I'm going to break down the video and talk about some of the takeaways that I got from that race and lessons that I took from that. And I ended up using in future races that I run in throughout the season, which I also hope to do a race recap as well of those videos as well. So stay tuned for those. Now, before this race, I had never run an 800 meter race outside the school-based athletics carnivals, but I heard of a group called the Vic Milers Club who put on 800 meter, 1500 meter, and sometimes mile races in Melbourne. So I saw this as an exciting opportunity for me to see how I could compete and compare to the 800 meter runners in Melbourne. And at the time, I was still living in my hometown of Albury in the country. My fitness coming to this race was, so a month prior, I ran an 800 meter time trial with my training partner Toby in Albury, where I broke 2 minutes for the first time in the 800, which had been a goal of mine ever since I first started applying myself in year 12, which you would hear in my origin story. So my mindset coming into this race was to make a statement, as I was unknown to everyone here being in the country, town. So one more detail I like to add before reacting to the race is I was put into the F race with a cash prize of $100 going for the first prize getter. So enough money for me to pay for my field trip back home. So the stakes were pretty high. All right, so let's get into it.
On the line to the winner of event number 15, the men's F800 metres.
Very
100
high
in
stakes.
cash, and we will have a full field of 9 lining up.
Another thing that I like to add as well.
Looking for that pot of gold at the end of this track.
So yeah, as you can see on the screen right here. So when I entered into this race, the seed time that I put into the race was my sub 2 minute time. I think it was 1:59. 50. I think that was the seed time that I put in. But as you can see, they changed my seed time to 2 minutes 70 milliseconds, which I had a suspicion that they would do that because they're probably thinking, oh, the time that I entered was a bit faster so I could get to a faster race, X, Y, and Z, which to me, when I came into this race, I kind of knew they would put me with people who haven't broken sub 2 yet. So I found that a pretty funny thing reviewing it afterwards. So yeah, I'm on to you, Vic Myler, people. Anyway, let's carry on.
In Station 1 from Old Scotch, AJ Merry. Station 2, he was at Miles Club number 1 right back in 2005. He's still here. We can't get rid of him. It is Simon Fitzpatrick. Station 3 from Western Athletics, Ethan Riley. Station 4 from Box Hill, it is Nathaniel Ueka. Station 5 also from Box Hill, Joshua Daly. In 6, all the way from Albury, we've got Eric Reimers.
That's my mom in the background.
It is Oliver Evans.
I actually train with him now as well.
Callum Settle, and Station 9
That's pretty cool. Had no idea at the time.
David Matthews. The men's Dash for Cash, F800 for men. 9 starters.
All right, let's get going. There I am. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see how I go. I'm a little bit slower off the line, but yeah.
Good start here for the Dash for Cash.
Oh,
Fitzpatrick.
the first
in the blue uniform alongside him from Western Athletics. That's Riley going nicely.
So you can see I'm a bit bunched up here.
Runners, and I think that might be Daly.
So I kind of get boxed in, but like I said, I knew I was better than all the people
27, 28 through the opening.
I go through 28,
meters.
so
looks like it might be Daly who's taking the lead as they come through.
That's kind of what I want, but.
And Fitzpatrick just settling back into second position.
Well, as you can see,
of a gap then
me at the back there, I'm a bit boxed in, so
Evans.
Like I said, I know I'm fitter than them, so I didn't want to be there, so I start to come out of the line to start to speed up.
But I think this is definitely going to be a sub 1 race.
Yeah, you think? I've run sub. And then I'm kind of like, well, shit, let's just overtake him.
The Albury club just going to the outside, but out front it is still Daly leading the way. So Daly, Fitzpatrick.
I'm kind of like, you know what?
In that order, $100
I want to win this race. I should be at the front. That was my mindset.
So the Albury runners come all the way down the track. This will really pay the petrol on the way home. No. And Reimers is the one making the big move. 200 out.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll take the lead.
Alongside Daly. Can anyone go with him? At the moment, no. So Reimers is leading it. You've then got Daly still in second position.
Yeah, I can hear all this
Riley
as this is going on as well.
A little bit of a gap to Ueka, and he's coming home strong, but has Reimers done the job, or is he?
I was thinking, come on. At this point, I can feel the lactic hit me.
Daly won't try to go for the win again.
And just about here,
the young man from
there, the lactic acid hits me in the legs, and I'm like, come on, don't fall.
Takes it.
Oh, man. Every time when I watch it.
As a cucumber.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I'll wait for the photo on that one, but Nathaniel Ueka, Reimers did everything he possibly could.
Yes, I did.
It might have been Ueka who took that one out, so if the boys can just hang around a little bit.
Yeah, so I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to have a win, and I didn't get a PB in this, which I'll talk about a little bit afterwards. But yeah, as you can see here, the lactic acid hits me, and
so officially
I completely just lose control. That's how it feels like when you get that lactic hit.
Reimers in third, but
so I was just trying to hang on here, as you can see. Like,
$100 richer. How's that
I just
feel?
lost all my form.
Great race. You came from nowhere. That was a great finish, PB.
I think so.
What was your previous best coming in?
2 minutes.
I think it was
2 minutes.
Under. So well done, Nathaniel Ueka. $100.
See what I mean?
Be in touch.
So you see what I mean? They were coming into it not breaking two. Maybe they did and they changed theirs as well. But I knew for me, I wasn't like that. So as you can tell from watching that video, it was very intense. And for me, it was Oh, my tactics were just out the window. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, because a big thing that you got to consider is in Albury, I am completely not used to running against so many people next to me, because there's not many 800-meter runners in Albury. I was fortunate to have only one dude, Toby, who was running similar times to me. So I never really got much experience running in 800-meter races, especially like even at the zone and Riverina, so that's regional events. The 800 meters, there was the most we would have is probably 6 guys in a race. And we weren't all at the same fitness level. There was a big difference between all of us. So it was more like a time trial every single race. But anyway, so after every race I run, one of the things that I like to do is review the race footage and break it down to find things that I can improve on and use for future races. Because ultimately, the best way for me to improve my race tactics is to review my errors and mistakes that I've made in previous races, which in this one, I made a lot, which we're going to break down right now. So the first thing that I took away from this race that I found was at the 100-meter mark, I should have spent a little bit more energy to get closer to the front, preventing me from being boxed in behind people I knew were slower than me. So you can actually see in the race, there was a specific section there where I started to accelerate along next to the black dude, but I start to slow down a bit, which ended up making me get boxed in. So that was one key point. The second one was when overtaking along the straight. So I recognized at that point, man, I'm boxed in. I should be closer to the front. I decided, well, I have to overtake them at coming into the 400-meter mark. So as you can see, I start to move into lane 2 and I start to try and move up. But my plan was from that point to tuck in to the lane, to lane 1, just before we came onto the second last bend of the race to avoid running in lane 2. But obviously from that point, I recklessly decided, you know what? I'm fitter than these people. I'm going to move up to the front anyway. I'm going to continue my surge. Because what also prompted me to do that too was I wanted to run a 1:58 for my first split. But we ended up going through 59. Also prior, just a little bit more context, when I ran that sub 2-minute race in Albury, I did it on a negative split. I did 1 minute and I did 59 seconds. So when I came into this race, I knew I could run a sub 2 minute off 1 minute. So I can spend more here, but obviously it doesn't work like that. So what I should have done at that point was tuck in, force myself in. That's what I should have done to avoid me running in lane 2, because as you know, or you may not know, when you run on the bends, it costs you a little bit more in distance. It's just that slightly little bit more that you have to run because of width. That's why you have a staggered start on some races, is to account for that, specifically for races where you're stuck in one lane, like the 200 and 400 meter races and many other ones. Now, the third thing that I took away from this race was I should have not made my move at the 400 meter mark. So I should have waited longer so I didn't run the extra on the bends, like I said. So because as you can see in the race yet again, instead of me just, merging up and then tucking back in, I just start going. I'm like, screw this. I want to run it this way. But it costed me in the end. The fourth thing I took from this race was don't be afraid to get close to them. Don't give them so much space when you're overtaking. which you can clearly see on the second last 100 meters straight, where I'm going to overtake the leader of the race, but I'm running in lane 3. Like, I don't have to do that. But like I said, I'm not used to getting close to people, because in Albury, you were never in that situation, ever. And the fifth thing that I took out of this race was to block out all noise and to completely be present in the race. Because during the race, I was panicking too much. From the first point when I got boxed in to the part where I had to spend so much energy overtaking them, thinking, oh my Lord, have I gone too early? Because I could hear the commentator say those things. And when he said that, in my mind, I was like, I did not. You're a liar. I've got more in me. But, you know, my body didn't. But, yeah. And then also, all these things were indicating to me that my focus was on other things instead of where I needed to focus it most, on the race. Because sometimes you might hear from world-class athletes, some questions they're asked is, oh, when you're running, do you ever hear the crowd and everything like that? And most of the time they say no. Why? Because they're so in the zone, focused on the race, that's where all their attention goes. It's kind of like where if you meditate for a period of time and you just focus on your breath, you know, your breath becomes louder than anything else. Or if you start focusing on a specific sound in your room, like the birds tweeting outside, if you're really focusing on that specific aspect outside, you might notice that it becomes louder. And essentially, that's kind of what happens at a race. If you're in the zone, you don't hear the commentator and all that, which that's where you want to be. Because essentially, that's how you can react better to unplanned situations. Because that's the thing about races. You can have race tactics, but anything can happen. Someone could fall over. Someone could all of a sudden accelerate out of nowhere like me. You don't know. So it's hard to plan for those things. So all you can do is be proactive and be vigilant and ready to react to those situations. So the last thing I wanted to talk about for this race recap was, so what took place over the rest of the season from this point? So after this race, I was filled with so much excitement and energy, hungry to come back and show these guys what I'm really made of. Because, man, I was that close to getting some money and also to getting first place as well. And it kind of indicated to me that, you know, I can compete with these guys, which is great. So I got back into training for my next upcoming race on the time of Australia Day in January, which at the Victorian Country Championships Open Men's 800 in Ballarat, where I won my first medal and smashed my previous PB. So I plan on reviewing that race in the future and others too, so stay tuned. Now, if you got anything out of this video and you would like to support me on my quest, hit that subscribe button, upvote this video, and leave a comment down below, as this helps the channel grow and spread out to more people. So you can also follow me on Instagram and Strava and follow my progress towards my quest along there as well, which links are in the description below. And as always, it's never too late to start your dreams.